This video is a summary of chapters 17, 18, and 19 of The Giver, written by Lois Lowry. To start off, let's take a look at when this chapter is occurring. It's almost December again. This is when the book started. A lot has happened in Jonas's life in just a year, and it's very intentional that Lois Lowry is having the book end around when it started. Here's the sequence of events for chapter 17. First, Jonas's community has a surprise holiday. Nobody has to go to work or school. Jonas tries to play with Asher and his friends. However, Jonas gets upset when he understands that the game they are playing is a pretend war. Jonas remembers the war experience he has now lived, and when Jonas tells Asher not to play that game anymore, Asher gets upset. Jonas realizes that he can't connect with anybody in the community because they don't understand deep feelings. After receiving so many memories, Jonas knows that his community does not feel deep anger or sadness. They feel shallow emotions like impatience, exasperation, or disappointment. After receiving so many memories, Jonas knows that his community does not feel deep anger or sadness. They feel shallow emotions like impatience, exasperation, or disappointment. At home, Jonas's father mentions that tomorrow 2 twins are being born. Only one can stay in the community, so Jonas's father will have to choose which one stays and which one is released. In these next 2 chapters, we learn answers to 2 mysteries of the book: the last receiver, before Jonas, and release. One day, during his training, Jonas asks the giver about release. Jonas knows he can't apply for release, and he learns that this is a new rule after the failure 10 years ago. The giver tells Jonas the story of Rosemary, the receiver before Jonas. Rosemary was the previous receiver of memories, before Jonas. The giver describes her as a remarkable young woman, very self-possessed, serene, intelligent, and eager to learn. The giver loved Rosemary like a daughter. It broke his heart to give Rosemary painful memories. After 5 weeks, he had to start giving her memories of loneliness, poverty, hunger, and terror. The giver always tried to give her happy memories to make her feel better, but one day, the giver says she hugged him, kissed his cheek, and went to apply for release. After the release, all of the memories Rosemary had were put back in the minds of the community. Everybody suffered when they had to feel loneliness and poverty and hunger and terror. The giver says those feelings overwhelmed the community, and he didn't even try to help them through it because he was so angry and sad about Rosemary's release. Jonas explains that he is thinking about release because his father has to choose which of the twins gets released today. The giver offers to show Jonas a film of the release happening. When the film plays, Jonas learns what release means. Here's an explanation of release. It's a little disturbing, but so are many things in this book. First, Jonas's father weighed both babies. The heavier baby was given to another nurturer. Next, Jonas's father filled a syringe with liquid. He inserted the needle into the baby's forehead, and this kills the baby. Jonas finally learns that when a person is released, they are being killed. Have you heard the phrase, hindsight is 20/20? It's a reference to how doctors measure our vision. 20/20 vision is really good, clear vision. Hindsight means looking back after something has happened. Hind means back, and sight means looking. After an event, when we look back, we see lots of clues that tell us exactly how the event was going to happen. Sometimes we notice these clues and we can guess what is going to happen as we are reading the story. When an author writes clues for the reader to guess what is happening, it's called foreshadowing. And this book has a lot of foreshadowing. Think about how much Jonas thinks about release and how much it is talked about. Lois Lowry kept mentioning how it was such a mystery. Of course, we're going to find out the answer to this mystery. Another example of foreshadowing happens in this part of the book. When the giver and Jonas are talking about Rosemary's release and how the community got all those memories, Jonas pauses to think, what would happen if I was lost then? Rosemary only had 5 weeks of memories. I have almost a whole year's worth of memories. The community would hate that. The giver starts thinking, and he says, if you floated off in the river, I suppose I could help the community the way I've helped you. It's an interesting concept. I need to think about it some more. Maybe we'll talk about it again sometime, but not now. This foreshadowing helps shape my prediction. The giver might be planning to give the community back all these memories. Jonas has been gaining a lot of wisdom, and it is changing what he thinks of his community. Learning about release is going to alter the course of Jonas's life and that of another community member. Stay tuned.